This morning on Forever Young, a guide to life after 50, estate planning. If you're like most people, chances are you don't spend a lot of time thinking about your own mortality. In fact, it's probably one of your least favorite subjects. But Paul Rampell, the author of Immortality Made Easy, has some tips for taking the fear out of preparing a will. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning.
Immortality Made Easy. You make light of estate planning, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Why?
Writing a will is really the making of instructions for gifts, and making gifts can be very enjoyable and fun. The writing of a will in and of itself isn't some sort of a near-death experience. It isn't an invitation to the Grim Reaper. It really has a lot more to do with giving to the living than it has to do with death or dying.
And so everybody needs a will, but not everybody has one.
That's correct. And there are big problems if people die without wills. First, legislators, through state laws, judges, and lawyers will decide who gets what. An abusive family member may end up accidentally inheriting everything, which was the case in the estate of the movie star James Dean.
So as someone starts to plan, we have some tips on how to help them prepare for a will. Let's take a look at that. You say list all your assets and liabilities. I guess some people don't have all that listed when they die.
That's correct. If a person doesn't make a list of their assets, perhaps preparing a financial statement, then he may send his family on a scavenger hunt. Valuables may be overlooked or even lost forever.
You also say check the titles of all your assets. Why is this a problem?
Titles may conflict with wills. In a will, a mother may wish to give a certain savings account, for example, to her daughter. But if that savings account is jointly titled, for instance, with her 10th husband, the 10th husband, not the daughter, will receive that savings account.
Next, talk to family and friends. You want to talk to them about what? You want to tell them exactly what you're going to give them?
Not necessarily, but more a discussion along these lines to avoid surprises. If a father or a mother wishes to name a friend as a guardian for a minor child, it might be a good idea to discuss this with the friend to make sure that that friend is up to handling the responsibility.
And this next one is probably the most difficult for some people, and that's talking about providing funeral instructions.
Well, let's use this example. If a man wishes to be buried in New York City, but at the time of his death he hasn't made that clear, his relatives may have his body cremated and ashes dispersed in Virginia, and that situation's irreversible.
But he's gone.
Exactly.
I mean, he's not going to have much choice at that point anyway, right?
That's right. He'll be angry, but he can't even turn over in his grave.
Do you find that most people don't have wills? A lot more people don't have wills than you would think.
It's surprising how many people are afraid to write wills. When the writing of the will itself isn't anything dangerous. It isn't as if the paper's flammable and the ink is poison. But people shy away from it because they associate it with their death, when in fact the only connection is that the date on which a will matures, which could be 20 or 30 years after it's written, happens to coincide with the date of death.
Well, this book will be encouragement for some people to write wills. Paul, thank you very much for being with us this morning.
You.
Up next, poetry books for your kids, right after this.